So for our next speaker, that's Professor David Peck. He came from the United States, and he is a professor in the University of Brigham Young University, Idaho. And his specialization is the history, and particularly he focuses on the idea of Mormonism and Sufism. And he holds several positions. He compiled many books, so we don't have much time to mention all of them here. But with that, we would request to Professor David Peck, please come up, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. My greetings and thanks to all involved. Because we're cut short in the speech, please allow me simply to say thank you to all who have participated, all who have blessed our lives with their words, their sincerity, their love, the fraternity, the sisterhood that we feel. And to my friends, I have to mention not only Salman, but my Murshid, Peck Saheb Khan, and also Sheikh Jonathan Granoff, a dear friend of mine. But in particular, I want to thank all of you, because as I come to this place, I know that I already know you, that I discover that I've been in love with you, and you have been in love with me, from before I was a me, if there is a me, to the very time in which the words come from my mouth. My Sufi brothers, my Sufi sisters, bound together because God loved us first, that we may love each other, in love for all of the souls, in love for our precious planet, I rise to address the question of this conference: what is the significance of tasawwuf in light of contemporary global issues, and what would be the methodology to promote it? And I think this last question is very important, because there is no question or doubt in my mind that we come together in love. But this message is unknown to most of the world. For most of the world dwells in darkness simply because they don't know where to find the light, or they don't know the light is already here. And so in some way we must try and engage so that we spread that light which has been given to us in trust to those around us. I'm keenly aware that I come from another part of the world which is more prosperous in many respects, but poor in some respects. But I don't come here to tell you what to do or how to do it, but humbly ask that we can reach out to each other and perhaps come to an understanding of how we may share our deep aspirations for a violent, free world in which a greater Sufi public presence and open engagement are known to all, to where the love that Sufis preach, the love that Sufis practice, is better known than the dogmas, than the creeds, than the rules, than the divisions, than the sects which would divide us one from another. Sufis have long understood that humans universally experience a fundamental, even existential tension between what Hazrat Rumi, Maulana, referred to as mercy and wrath, a struggle between love and enmity, which began at birth, but not before. We don't come to this world, our fitra does not come to this world predisposed toward division or violence. It is something we have built or acquired in this presence. So Maulana says, which will overcome, mercy or wrath? Which will overcome the springs of paradise or the fires of hell? Since the covenant of Alast, both branches, forbearance and anger, have existed to attract men to themselves. And in this light, I would like to connect this to a great activist and man of love and peace from my own culture, my own country, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who taught that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, who taught that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Yet as humans, we often deny our mutuality through acts of violence, behaving as if injustice can be focused and directed in such a way that we ourselves avoid the consequences of it. And in this context, I would like to address two global issues: the human impact on the Earth's resources and its link to deepening intense global violence. And I would like to address the linkage between violence and our human impact on our planet as a social scientist, as a Sufi, and as an activist. Observers of this world include scientists of many types, are examining the relationship between the growing demand for the Earth's limited resources and the violence used by persons, groups, or nations seeking access to, and in some cases control of, scarce but vital resources. For example, social scientists study food insecurity, have established its connection with violence and deep sociopolitical instability. These observers have noted that in the 70 years or so of quote-unquote global peace since the last World War, advances in food production have significantly relieved many instances of violence and food insecurity, helping avoid another such global conflict. But the benefits of those advances appear temporary in light of what they call the Great Acceleration. The Great Acceleration is the name given to the recent rise in human planetary impact across several categories. The Great Acceleration describes human impact in terms of increased atmospheric carbon dioxide release, ocean acidification, the rise in land surface temperatures, the loss of tropical rainforests, among many other things. Generally speaking, human impact on Earth's overall productive capacity to sustain life was low or negligible prior to the year 1750 and the British Industrial Revolution. It rose modestly, but since the year 1950, our impact upon the planet, our impact to sustain life, our impact to sustain each other in health and well-being, the impact is increased by at least 6 orders of magnitude. We are in what is called the Great Acceleration, and we will put the brakes on this process, or we will suffer the violence and insecurity which come with this process. Indeed, as Salman told us, if we wish to serve the Creator, we must serve the creation. And insofar as we are dedicated to nonviolence, we need to be dedicated to spreading the vital resources of the earth among all peoples out of love and concern for all. Now, speaking as a Sufi, although the isolated pockets of humanity have survived some local resource deficiencies in the past, we now exist in a global environment, tied to a network of mutuality, as Dr. King said, a single garment of destiny, where what affects one person affects us all. Our challenges are genuinely universal. So how might Tasawwuf address this universal situation, offer relief and guidance, and engage in solutions that respect God's designs for the individual human soul, the planet, and all life upon it? Speaking as a Sufi, the teachings of Tasawwuf reveal that our mutuality, or universal mutuality and dependence, our common fabric of destiny, was woven before what we would call our birth on this earth. Many religious and spiritual traditions help humans understand that we will return to God, but not all understand and teach the significance of the truth that we came from God in the first place. William Chittick stated, in order to discover how we will return to the first, we need to discover how we were separated from the first. This discovery proceeds from seeking answers to questions voiced by Sufi masters across all generations. These from Bawa Muhyiddin: where was I? What place have I come to? What will I do here? How will I see you, Allah, in this world? Who created me? Who sent me down and placed me here? Who made the earth? Who dwells hidden within me? How will I know? How will I reach you? Our separation from Allah in this dunya, as Sufis know, means that we were previously with him in the Yom Alas, the Yom Amathak, the Yom Kalubala, when we each covenanted with God upon our own souls that he is our Lord. And in that place which is beyond place, in that time which is beyond time, and there was no time, we offered our soul to God and felt in that instance the truth of our existence. I'm going to move ahead a little bit and say the beauty of the truth of our existence is that everybody I see here today, my sisters and my brothers, everybody that I meet here today, I already know. For we were brought forth from the loins, beginning with Adam, each unto the presence of Allah and the angels. And we were each asked, Alastu bi rabbikum? And God, who presented that question to us, Allah allowed us to answer, Qalu bala, Shahidna, upon my own soul. So every person I meet here has made that covenant. There is no one that I will find in my dunya existence, my temporality, who's not made this covenant. How can I not honor that covenant within them? How can I not respect that they have made the same promise I have made, and that I should accord to them the respect that I would have for myself out of that covenant? How is it that I can separate myself from them, knowing that we all made this covenant? How can I withhold my property? How can I withhold my resources? How can I abuse the earth in such a way that I deny to them the same things that were promised to them in trust given to all of us who witnessed on the day of Alast that God is our Lord? Ibn Arabi described our condition. Original faith, al-Iman al-Asli, is the primordial nature in accordance with which God created mankind. It is their witnessing to his oneness and the taking of the covenant. However, when man falls by means of the body into the confines of nature, the place of forgetfulness, of ghafla, he becomes ignorant and forgets the state which he had with his Lord. And it is the teachings of Tasawwuf that remind us that we are all in this together, that we're all in the covenant and the trust together. My brother who may be violent, or my sister who may be violent, and I who claim to not be violent, must understand we are fundamentally equal in this covenant, and that my task is to help them in this covenant as I seek help from them in this covenant. I think the world needs to know this truth of Tasawwuf. I think the world needs to understand that we are all in this together as members and participants in the trust of Yom Alast. And that if we understood this, we would not treat each other or our planet in the way we do. So I would like to now speak as an activist briefly and say that I believe we must illuminate the nature of Tasawwuf, that insofar as God has given light to be mirrored through the souls of this earth, that we polish our mirrors, and that we seek always to shine with his life to illuminate. I perceive one of the great problems in our world is that most Westerners do not know, most Westerners do not understand Tasawwuf. They see those people who would commit violence in the name of God, but they do not see those vast majority of people who have love and peace in their hearts. We must illuminate the nature of Tasawwuf to them. I think we must illuminate acts of violence and atrocity. We must point them out, and we must engage with them at ever-increasing levels. I believe that we should engage the press, because the West doesn't know of Sufism and doesn't know that there are many people of the Islamic world who seek peace in this world. They only see the atrocities committed in the name of God. They only see the disgraces committed in the name of God. It seems to me, as organizations such as this, and as an activist, we should organize news bureaus. We should put out press releases. We should engage the Western media, and we should let them actively know that Sufism preaches the path of peace. We must illuminate hypocrisies, including the hypocrisies of individuals, groups, and nations, in the construction and maintenance and testing of nuclear, chemical, biological weapons under the color of self-defense to make our world more secure. We must illuminate the hypocrisies of pollutions of the environment and ways in which we divide ourselves from each other. And I believe as Sufis, should we not move forward in such a way that the light which God has entrusted to the souls is shown forth among the nations in a much greater and illuminating path? And finally, illuminate the truth of our existence. To awaken in each soul the active memory of divine love experienced at the Yom HaLast. To commit violence again against one person is to commit violence against us all. But to love and serve one person is to love and serve us all. To degrade the planet in one place is to degrade it in all places. We can publicly accelerate our engagement. We can meet the great acceleration with the great Sufi acceleration, whereby the Sufis of the world engage at ever-increasing levels of public awareness, and by so doing spread the message of Tasawwuf to the world. We must remember that although Dr. Martin Luther King said that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, that justice anywhere is justice everywhere, that love anywhere is love everywhere, that service anywhere is service everywhere. I pray, my sisters and my brothers in Tasawwuf, that we will open our hearts to God, but that we will stand forth, that we will find ways to diplomatically engage, to engage with the press, and to let the world, especially the Western world from which I come, know of you, to know of your love, to know of your commitment, to know of the trust with which you have been given, so that they will be inspired to engage the world, including the Islamic world, with love, with charity, with forbearance, with peace, with prosperity, and build a planet upon which we can all live in love and harmony. And I pray this, that Allah will grant to our hearts the truth and light that we need to spread this, and that He will join us together in love. For as I look upon you, I realize that I know you, that we stood before Allah, and that you know me, and that I stood before Allah. And I said, Qalu, with you, I said, with you, Qalu bala, shahidna, and that each of us may bring this forth into the world in an active engagement would be my prayer. And I give thanks to Allah, to the organizers, to all who have let me exist and to come here and address you. Amin.